The Storm Mastery's most flashy skill has to be the Ice Shard. Spamming the shards with the torrent modifier is one of the most visually pleasing things you can do in Titan Quest. But you need casting speed and lots of skill points to make the shards powerful enough. I estimated that at level 12, the shards with a full torrent modifier would be strong enough to carry us through most battles, but that also means that for the beginning we have to rely on something else to kill our enemies. We will go for the Storm Nimbus, because that gives us flat damage, and it can be dispersed quickly with thrown weapons. But since we will still switch into the shards, we should buy as many scrolls of arcane power as we can to make the endgame fights quicker. The scroll of arcane power increases your casting speed by 100%, and the firing rate of your shards correlates directly to your casting speed. That would make items which increase your casting speed incredibly valuable for this run. So today, we are looking out for the Hood of the Magi and the Charm of the Magi. The staff is not required. Alright, enough with the theory, let's see how it all played out. As we enter Sparta and check the Arcanist, we luckily have enough money to buy reps of travel with 10% movement speed. We will fight Nessus at level 4, and it takes about 30 seconds to kill the Centaur. It's not too difficult with the throwing weapons though. Now with the Storm Mastery, I think that getting experience quickly is our biggest issue. So we use every battle marker that we can find to kill as many enemies as we can. At the Megara coast, we find our first essence of Hermes' sandal. We put it into the reps of travel for 5% more movement speed. Then we find 2 essences of Achilles' Valor. One in Old Eleusis and one more in the chests of the quest News of a Shipwreck. We put them into the Lego Bolon to raise our attack speed and therefore our damage output. Then it is time to fight against the Gorgons. This time we have a battle marker, so Uriel gets taken out relatively quickly. Then we single out Medusa, attack her with the Lego Bolon until we can finally take on Steno. The Gorgon chest rewards us with Thorny Bracers, which will give us money, and more importantly, a Bracelet of Quickness, which raises our attack speed by 8%.
Thank you, but goodbye.
We then move on to Alastor. He has a life leech ability and we unfortunately have no resistance, so he will heal from time to time. We still deal reasonable damage with our standard attacks, so it is just a matter of time until this undead ghost is finished. I decided to kill the smaller skeletons as well, who are a bit of a nuisance and can slow us down with their attacks. All in all, this fight took about a minute. As we are on our way to the Knossos Labyrinth, I somehow managed to die to Maenads, even though I had a battle marker active. Not the biggest time loss, but still embarrassing. The Minotaur Lord is once again an enemy that can't do too much against us. As we clear out the arena traps on the left side, taunt the Minotaur and use a blade trap to kill the bull. We are at a low health total, so we have to be very careful, but this fight was still manageable. However, we do run into some issues against the Telkin. The statues survive far too long for my liking, and the Telkin destroys the Celestial Conduit before we kill all of the statues. Then we have to be very careful with the Limoses that the Telkin summons, because they can heal the Telkin for lots of health if they survive too long. Which is exactly what happens with the first Limos spawn. I then decided to use a Scroll of Arcane Power because this fight is taking too long without it. The scroll raises our damage by roughly 50% and makes killing the Limoses much easier. After many more hits with our Lego Bolon, the Telkin ultimately goes down and leaves the third essence of Achilles' Valor behind. Then there is the fight against the Scarab in the Library Vault. And boy, this is a long fight. We have to get close enough to hit the Scarab with the Lego Bolon, kill some of the smaller Scarabs because they would otherwise overwhelm us, and dodge the poison shotguns as best as possible. The blade trap that I placed in this fight only deserves a participation medal at most, and the base damage from our Storm Nimbus just doesn't cut it anymore. After 2 long and painful minutes, we finally kill the Scarab. The Ancient Scorpion doesn't go down quickly either. And in retrospect, I should have probably used the Blade Trap here, but I also had to have one for the fight against Nehebkau. That is at least what kept me from using the Blade Trap here. In Sais, we then kill the crocodiles for the quest Plight of the Nile Farmers, as they give good experience and lots of valuable items, which we can then sell at the trader. Then we also go for the quest A Promethean Surrounded, because I would like to reach level 12 before switching into the Ice Shards.
That was a bit close.
And with the battle marker before Memphis and the experience we get from Imhotep, we get there as we leave Memphis again. So we port back to Rakotis, talk to the Mystic and switch into the Ice Shards with the full torrent. We can now shoot 5 Ice Shards at once, with the bonus of dealing additional Frostburn damage. And we can make good use of that against the Walking Stones. The shrines go down quickly to 3 shard volleys each, then we have to kite the statues until they also fall and unlock the gate to the Hand of Balance.
You cannot open the door at this time. Need more energy.
We do the same thing against Nehebkau. I do not know why I didn't use a scroll of the breaking wheel here, it would have made this fight a bit quicker, but even without the help of the piece of paper, the Scorpion goes down relatively quickly.
Not enough energy.
And this is how most fights will look now. Take the fight against the second Telkin. We are under the influence of a Shrine of Mastery and a Scroll of Arcane Power. Our casting speed is at 200%, and the shards look like they have been working out for the last 6 months to become this powerful. The only issue that we run into is that we drain our mana far too quickly. For the Sandlord, I use a Scroll of the Breaking Wheel. Again, to save up the Scrolls of Arcane Power for later. But obviously the scroll doesn't do too much against this demon. No big deal. The shards can kill the Wraith Lord pretty easily and we travel to Babylon. It is now time to face the Chimera, and since we are once again under the influence of a Shrine of Mastery, I decide against using a Scroll of Arcane Power in this fight. After taking out the first traps on either side, we move on to the 3-headed creature and freeze it to death in just about 10 seconds. Then we run for 10 minutes without fighting anything, except for 2 Saber Lions, who were getting in our way as we switch from the regular potions to the greater variant. We reach level 14 before the Jaguar, and with the help of a Scroll of Arcane Power, we can once again defeat a boss very quickly. We have to be careful here, because the Demon Bull can still deal loads of damage, but it is not the most difficult fight in the world. Then we reach the third Telkin, who holds on to the Sickle of Kronos. We use another Scroll of Arcane Power and start the fight. After dodging the Telkin's attacks and killing its minions, we seem to be able to brain freeze the Telkin as it doesn't know what to do against this hailstorm of ice shards.
Need more energy.
Now it is time to tackle the biggest hurdle, the Lower Olympus. To be precise, the way to the first Rebirth Fountain. I decide to take out the first Limoses with the shards and then push towards safety. And we manage to get to safety, go back to the main menu and return to the Olympus shortly after. After dodging the last few enemies, we can finally face Typhon. We activate the battle marker, the Shrine of Mastery and the Scroll of Arcane Power. Unfortunately, we get hit by the Energy Leech and the Life Leech, so we have to stop attacking for a while, and Typhon heals for about 900 health points. Typhon then hits with a second life leech, healing himself once again. And after the scroll runs out, I struggle to deal consistent damage to Typhon. And as if that wasn't bad enough, we get hit by a third life leech, and then a poison attack combined with an energy leech takes us out. So we run back up, dodge another life leech, and manage to kill Typhon with a few more Ice Shards. Still, I think it is obvious that I'm not very happy with how I handled this fight. A time of 1:33:45 is not exactly great, and I put the Storm Mastery into C tier. This poor time is caused by the terrible early and mid game that the Storm Mastery has. You have no access to a powerful AoE spell to level up quickly, and the Storm Nimbus is not exactly a great spell to rely on. I still think that a much better time is possible, either by switching to the Ice Shards earlier, or by using a quicker thrown weapon, or maybe a staff that uses cold damage. Yeah, think about that. The movement speed was not doing us any favors either, but once you get to the shards, the Storm Mastery breezes through boss fights as long as you have a scroll of arcane power. The thing is, with the Storm Mastery, you don't exactly have an enemy that can act like a brick wall like Alistar and Typhon for the Nature Mastery, but you have lots of enemies that can take a long time to kill. Next up, Nadan.